will eat this food. If I count 1 to 10 and none of you stands up to get the food, then I won't give you again. Going 1, going 2, going 3.
I know you may be wondering what this narrative seeks to convey. Are you the type of parents who permits your children to eat food prepared by strangers? Do you sometimes overlook the importance of cautioning them about the potential dangers of consuming food offered by individuals who are complete strangers and have no relationship with them? Whether these individuals appear as peers, neighbors, or even teachers? Allow me to take you through this narrative, one designed to broaden our understanding and heighten our spiritual awareness. It serves as a powerful reminder of the vital responsibility we bear as parents to consistently warn our children against accepting food from strangers. Once upon a time, in a remote riverine village called Feni, there lived a once peaceful family, Mr. and Mrs. Tibor. They had only one son whose name was Frank. Frank was a very playful, yet brilliant, smart, and intelligent child, loved by all the villagers in Feni Kingdom. No one ever set their eyes on Frank without falling in love with him. They either loved him for his jovial nature, his respect for elders, or even his excellent results in school. One day, a stranger came looking for employment in Frank's school. She said she had seen a teaching job vacancy from the school on social media and that she traveled all the way to Feni for the interview. Fortunately, the stranger named Miss Linda passed the interview and was employed with immediate effect. Frank's former teacher had relocated few months ago and the school needed another teacher to occupy the position, so they published a recruitment notice seeking for a replacement. As it happened, Miss Linda performed excellently in her interview and was hired immediately. She was a tall, beautiful and mean-looking woman in her early 30s. After her employment, she rented an apartment in the neighborhood close to the school premises. As time went on, people began to notice that she was a very quiet woman. She never interacted with her neighbors and never even greeted them with a good morning. But this was not a cause for concern. People felt she was not the social type. They felt she was someone who preferred to mind her business and give herself respect. But one thing eventually caught the attention of the neighbors. One day, Mama Ikini, a woman who lived very close to Miss Linda, called her to the other neighbors and began telling them something she had been observing. As at that time, Miss Linda was away and Mama Ikine said,
"Have you people noticed that Miss Linda is always buying new things in her apartment? And she changes her hairstyle every 3 days, very expensive ones too. How is she able to afford all these things when the month has not even come for workers or teachers to receive their salaries? How does she do it? And the most shocking part is that her salary is very little. My son attends the school where she teaches, and he told me they pay teachers only 30,000 naira. This is a concern to me. That is why I called you people, oh."
Some neighbors fell into deep thoughts after hearing what Mama Ekine said. Some agreed with her observation, while others called her a jobless gossip, saying,
"Mama Ekine, you talk too much with your big loud mouth. You are just a gossip. You are always peeping through the window just to find something to talk about."
How are we sure this loud smelling mouth Mama Ekine will not gossip about us too tomorrow?
Look at her, she did not even flush the poo-poo she left in the toilet. If it is to gossip with her long mouth, you will always find her there.
People hurled insults at her, calling her Aituno, the woman who doesn't mind her business, the jobless woman, and so on. Meanwhile, others supported Mama Ekine. After that day, everyone continued minding their own business, since Miss Linda did not even attempt to interact with them. In Miss Linda's class, where Frank also belonged, most of the pupils were scared of her. She would often flog them for the slightest mistake. And even when they did well in their classwork and assignments, Miss Linda would still find a reason to cane them. Frank, the boy who was loved by everyone and known as the most intelligent and brilliant child in the class, was also beaten often. In his case, she would flog him as though she hated him with everything in her. But Miss Linda would always pet the dull students and treat them with love, never beating them. Instead, she constantly tortured the intelligent students, especially Frank. This became a serious concern to some parents who could no longer tolerate it. Their children returned home with marks in their body and sometimes bleeding. Frank, who was once a handsome-looking child, began shrinking. He became slim, his body covered in scars, and he was always scared to attend classes because of Miss Linda. One day, all the parents in Feni Kingdom, whose children had been battered by Miss Linda, held a meeting about the torture their kids were facing. They concluded that they would go to the school authority and report the situation. The next day, the parents stormed angrily into the school premises and reported everything to the principal. When he heard this, he was very shocked. He claimed he had never noticed such behavior, but assured the parents that he would look into the matter. He apologized and promised them that such incident would never repeat itself again. The parents were relieved by the principal's response and left. After they left, the principal immediately sent for Miss Linda to come to his office. When she arrived, he was very furious and he said angrily,
What is this I am hearing, Miss Linda? That you are battering primary 6 pupils almost to death. Something that has never happened in this school before. You will have to resign so you don't kill someone's child.
Miss Linda quickly knelt down and burst into tears, confessing,
I actually flogged the children, sir, but I did it because they were too stubborn and disrespectful. That was the reason I corrected them with the cane. I promise, sir, I will never ever repeat such behavior again. Please give me one more chance.
The principal, thinking her apology was sincere, accepted it and warned Miss Linda never to batter any child again. He instructed her that if a child misbehaved, she should report to him and he would inform the parents. And so he dismissed Miss Linda and allowed her to continue her job. Weeks passed and Miss Linda suddenly became good to all the children. There was no more battering. There was no more cursing at the children. She no longer referred to them as snakes and so on. One day, Miss Linda came to the class with food tied in a small black nylon bag. She stood in the middle of the classroom, raising the nylon for any child who cared to eat it. At first, the children were silent. They made no noise or sound. Then she started saying,
Who will eat this food? If I count 1 to 10 and none of you stands up to get the food, then I won't give you again. Going 1, going 2, going 3.
Suddenly, Frank stood up and walked to her, saying,
Auntie, I will eat the food.
When Miss Linda saw this, she was very excited. She danced around Frank like he was the one she needed to give the food to. She told Frank she was proud of him and that he was the best person to eat the delicacy because he was very intelligent and brilliant. She told him she had prepared fried rice and chicken head and that it would make him even more intelligent. Then she handed him the food. Frank said thank you, took the food to his seat and began devouring it and licking his finger. The other student watched in shock because it was expected that children should never eat from strangers, not even teachers. Miss Linda stood watching Frank eat. She smiled a deep, mischievous smile. When he finished, she asked him to hand the nylon back to her, saying she would dispose it herself. The next day, news broke in the village that Frank had gone missing.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters of Feni Kingdom. I am here to break a news that one of our sons named Frank had gone missing.
Frank's parents searched all around the village for him, but to no avail. They went from house to house, yet found nothing. They went to his school to report to the principal, but Frank was nowhere to be found. They even called the recovery divers in the village to search for him inside the sea of Feni Kingdom, but he was not there either. Weeks passed and no one knew Frank's whereabouts, until one day, Frank's best friend Jack visited his parents. Jack told them he wanted to explain what happened on the day Frank went missing. He told them that Miss Linda came to the class with food tied in a black nylon and told them to eat it. But almost everyone refused except Frank. Frank ate the food that day, and that was the last time they saw Frank. Jack further explained that he strongly believed that the food Miss Linda gave Frank had something to do with his disappearance. When Frank's parents heard this, they were shocked to their bones. Frank's father exclaimed,
What did you just say?
His mother cried.
Unbelievable.
They were surprised, angry, frustrated, sad, and full of shock. They quickly went to the principal's house with Jack. The principal rushed out, expecting good news, but this time it was a serious matter. Frank's father said,
Jack, please repeat what you told us at home.
I said,
and with a shaky voice, Jack repeated everything he had earlier told Frank's parents. The principal found it hard to believe, but he assured them he would make a thorough investigation into Miss Linda. The next day, the principal opened her profile to call the numbers she had listed as her family contacts. He dialed one of them secretly to learn more about Miss Linda without her knowing. But when the person picked up and the principal asked if he was related to Miss Linda, the man sounded confused and said,
Who is Miss Linda, please?
The principal was shocked and he asked again,
Do you mean you don't know Miss Linda? A primary 6 teacher at Saint Academy in Feni village.
The person replied and said he didn't know anyone named Linda and that he had never come across such a person. Immediately, the principal became scared. He dropped the call and dialed the other numbers, but they all said the same thing. They did not know Miss Linda. At that point, it dawned on the principal that something terrible was happening. Fear gripped him, but he summoned courage and informed Frank's family of his findings. Hello everyone, if you love meaningful and lovely tales, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel and join me on this journey. We create educative and value-driven stories that promotes good morals and positive values. I want to use this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for watching. Bye.